Hey, Abe, it's Uncle Murray. How you doing, buddy? Nah, I'm only fooling. It's me, Larry. I just wanted to see what it was like to start one of these letters to you since
Hey,
Murray's in
who
the...
you talking to, Larry? Is somebody out there with you? Hey, you better not be messing around with that tape deck.
Murray'll be here in a minute. He's in the middle of something right now. Uh-oh, here he comes. Hey, don't say nothing about this, okay?
Hey, who was you talking to out here, Larry?
Nobody, Murray. I was just sitting here talking to, myself.
Hey, you better not have been messing around with that tape deck. Every time you mess around with my stuff, you screw something up.
Oh, come on, Murray. I always treat your stuff real good.
Oh, yeah? You remember when you borrowed my leaf blower because you wanted to clean off all the stoops on your block?
Yeah, I remember. But I don't know what you were so sore about. I filled it back up with gas, and I even changed the oil in it, too.
Yeah, but you put used oil from your deep fryer in it, you cheapo. And it still smells like fried chicken and french fries.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Every time I use it, I get all the strays in the neighborhood following me around, thinking they're getting a free meal or something.
That's funny, Murray.
Yeah, real funny. Yeah. Just keep your mitts off of my stuff, would you?
All right. Sorry, Murray.
Ah, it's okay. Anyways, since it looks like you already started recording, let's start talking about Noah's flood. Hey, Abe, it's Uncle Murray. How's it going,
Oh,
bud?
I already did that part.
What do you mean you already... Oh, never mind. Anyways, Abe, last time we was talking about how God was going to flood the whole earth because everybody got so evil and didn't want to follow God no more.
But you said everybody except that one guy, Noah, right?
Yeah, Noah and his family. You know, his wife and his three...
His three sons, the Lost Stooges.
Yeah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And all their wives, too.
Oh, and the animals too, right?
Yep, the animals, too.
Oh, yeah, you was gonna explain how he fit all them on the boat with him.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, he didn't have to bring every single animal in the whole world onto the ark. Just two of each kind, you know, a male and a female, because that's all you need to make more baby animals. Well, that ain't quite true. God said to bring two of every unclean animal and 7 of every clean animal.
You mean some of the animals took showers and some of them stayed dirty?
No. God made a difference between the clean animals and the unclean ones to serve different purposes.
Well, how did Noah know which was which?
Well, I wondered about that too, because the Bible don't say nothing about that yet. But then I figured that God must have told Noah which was which, but he just didn't write that part down yet, because he talks about clean and unclean stuff in a whole lot of detail later on with Moses.
Who's Moses?
Well, he comes later on, but let's just keep talking about Noah for right now.
Oh, okay. Well, so how did Noah fit all the animals under the ark?
I'll get to that in a minute, but I think I got to explain something else first. You see, there's some words in the Bible that we still use today, but they used to mean something different back then. You know, like wine or meat or something.
What did those words used to mean?
Well, sometimes wine still meant something that you drink that's got alcohol in it, but sometimes it just means juice from a fruit, like grapes, but the kind that don't got no alcohol in it. And meat, you know, M-E-A-T, meat, well, that was just another word for food. So apples and onions and sweet peppers and stuff like that, they was just called meat. But today, when we hear the word meat, we think of chicken and beef and turkey and pork and stuff like that. So when God told Adam that he gave all the fruits and veggies to him for meat, and that he gave all the animals the herbs for meat, well, that sounds kind of weird, you know, but if you know that meat just means food, well, then it makes more sense, see?
Oh, yeah, that does make more sense. But what does that have to do with fitting all of the animals under the ark?
Well, when God tells Noah to bring all the animals onto the ark, he tells him to bring pairs of every kind. But the word kind in the Bible meant something different than what most people today think it means. Because God put things into categories differently than people do today.
What do you mean?
Let me see. How can I explain it without getting into too much sciencey stuff? Oh, well, okay. It's winter time now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are the different kinds of clothes that you and me wear?
Well, a hat and a scarf and gloves, shirt, pants, socks and skivvies, boots, and coat.
Yeah, that's right. So that's 9 things. And let's say I invite you to go with me on a vacation for the weekend, and I tell you to bring 2 sets of every kind of thing that you wear.
Oh, thanks, Murray. I'd love to go with you, but I gotta go see my mother this weekend.
No. It's just pretend. I'm trying to explain something to you.
Oh, sorry, Murray.
That's okay. So I tell you to bring 2 sets of every kind of thing that you wear. So that's 9 times 2. That's 18 things, right?
Yeah, that's right. You're sure good with numbers, Murray.
Oh, I thank you so much. Anyways, you just gotta find a suitcase big enough to fit 18 things, see?
Yeah, I get it.
But now, what if I invited my sister Florence to go with us, and I told her to bring 2 sets of each kind of thing that she wears?
Oh, boy, Murray. I don't think we got enough room in the car for all of that.
Yeah, I know. But that's 'cause when we think of different kinds of clothes, it's different than what Florence thinks of different kinds of clothes. Well, you and me are thinking of something to wear on our feet. We just think boots. But Florence is thinking of boots and pumps and high heels and low heels and sandals and slippers and sneakers, and then all the different kinds of heels and all the different kinds of sneakers and stuff like that. So she thinks that she needs to bring like 50 times more stuff to wear than what we meant when we invited her. And she'll need 50 times more space than we would, too.
Oh, you ain't really gonna invite Florence to go with us, are you?
Leary, it's just pretend, remember?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Well, the point that I'm trying to make is that people today think that Noah had to fit maybe 1,000 dogs onto the ark, but really he only had to bring 2 of them. Because all the different species and breeds of dogs in the world today could have been made from just 2 of them. And the same thing goes for cats and horses and stuff like that. And, by the way, the same thing goes for people, too. People come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and colors, but we're all just people. Some folks like to talk about different races of people, but really, no matter where we come from or what we look like, we're still all the same kind.
Hey, that sounds real nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, me too. You know, some people got light skin, some people got dark skin, some people got freckles, and there's people with red hair and brown hair.
And some people ain't got no hair like you, Murray.
Yeah, and some people got big Dumbo ears like you. Ha 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 ha!
Hey, my ears ain't that big.
I'm just kidding you, buddy.
You know, you're my kind of pal, Murray.
Yeah, you're my kind of pal too, Larry.
You see what I did there? You're my kind of pal.
Oh, yeah, very clever.
Oh, thanks. So tell me more about the animals.
Oh, yeah, I kind of forgot we was talking about that. Well, so Noah didn't have to bring nearly as many animals with him as people think. But there still was an awful lot of them. But there was another thing that Noah could have done to save on space, too.
What was that?
Well, they was going to be on the boat for a whole year, and they had to feed them and clean up after them, and if the animals started making babies, then that meant more food and more cleaning up. So the best way to save on space, food, cleaning up, and keeping them from making babies was just to bring baby animals on the boat with them, see?
Oh, that's how he did it?
Well, the Bible don't say that's how he did it, but he could have done it that way. I mean, it makes sense to me. But another thing is that the Bible says how big the ark was, but it don't say how many different kinds of animals there was back then. So the people that say that there ain't no way that there was enough room for all the different kinds of animals, well, they don't really know what they're talking about, because nobody knows how many different kinds there was back then.
How big does it say the ark was?
Well, I don't want to turn this into a big math lesson, because there's a bunch of books out there that have already done all the work on that. But they figured that from the measurements God gave Noah, It was 500 cubits by 50 cubits by 30 cubits. And they figured that out to be over 2.5 million square feet of space inside of the ark. And that would be enough room to have about 125,000 animals about the size of a sheep. And they'd still have about 1.5 million square feet left over for food and water and Monopoly games or whatever else.
Wow, that's a big boat.
You could say that again.
Wow, that's a big boat.
Oh, funny, Larry.
Yeah, I like to think so.
So anyway, God gives Noah the measurements for making the ark, and he told him to make 3 levels in it, and to put a window around the top of it, and to put a big door in the side of it, and then to cover the whole thing with pitch. You know, that's kind of like a goopy tar for waterproofing. And so Noah and his family and all the animals were in the ark, and then God closed up the door on them all, and then he started to make it rain. And then the fountains of the deep opened up. So there was rain coming down from above and water coming up from inside of the earth. And then it says God did this for 40 days and 40 nights. And everybody was probably really freaking out too. Because back in chapter 2, it says that God hadn't caused it to rain yet. And that everything had got watered by a mist that rose up out of the ground. So there's lots of people that say that the rain at the beginning of the flood was the first time it had ever rained.
I wonder if it was like when kids see snow for the first time.
Yeah, maybe. But they was probably scared out of their sandals, too. Because it must have been a real downpour, and then they was all going to drown.
I don't want to be disrespectful, but it kind of makes me feel sad. Them people must have been awful scared when all that was happening.
Yeah, it makes me feel sad, too, but God always knows what he's doing.
People must have gotten awful bad for God to have had to do all of that.
Well, yeah. You remember what it says? And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
I know, but I still think it's sad. So then what happens to him on the boat?
It says that the water kept coming for 40 days and 40 nights until even the highest mountains were covered by 15 cubits. So the water was about 25 feet higher than the tallest mountains.
Boy, I'm sure glad I wasn't a plumber back then.
Well, then it says, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl, and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days.
What's prevailed?
Well, in this case, it means to overcome or overpower. But then it says, and God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. What's so funny?
God passed wind over the earth.
Oh, good grief. I never thought of it like that before. Oh, I got that in my head. Thanks a lot.
Sorry, Murray. Oh, but what's assuaged?
Well, the waters assuaged. That means that the waters started to go away. And it says that the water stopped coming up from the deep, and God turned off the rain, and the water started going back down inside the earth where it come from. And after 150 days, a whole bunch of the water was gone. Then it says that the ark rested on the top of the mountains of Ararat. Ararat, that's in Turkey.
What? The boat landed on a turkey?
No.
What?
No, not Turkey the bird, Turkey the country. That's what the place is called now. They renamed it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God passed wind over the earth and the boat landed on a turkey. Oh, you're going to get struck by lightning, buddy.
What?
I'm just kidding, Larry.
Well, I don't know.
So the waters kept going down into the 10th month, and the tops of the mountains started sticking out of the water. And then it says that 40 days after that, Noah opened up the window and sent out a raven that flew back and forth until the waters were all dried up.
You mean the raven dried up all the water by flapping his wings over it?
No, it just means that the raven kept going out and coming back because it didn't have no place to land until it was dry out there.
Oh.
Like the dove. It says that Noah sent out a dove, too, to see if the earth was dry enough to come out. But the dove kept coming back because there weren't no place to land yet. So we took the dove back into the ark, and then a week later we sent it out again. And then when she came back this time, she had an olive leaf in her beak. So Noah knew that the waters were draining off back down into the earth and getting dried up from the wind God made. Okay, never mind. Then a week after that, Noah let the dove fly out one more time, but then it doesn't come back no more. Then Noah took the covering off of the ark, and he saw that the water was all gone. And then a month after that, the ground was dry. Then God tells Noah, he says, "Hey, buddy, everybody out of the boat, you and your family and all the animals, and start repopulating the earth. Come on, everybody start making babies." And the first thing that Noah does is he builds an altar for God, and he makes an offering of every one of the clean animals and the clean birds. And, you see, that's probably why God told him to bring 7 of the clean ones. And then it says that the Lord smelled a sweet savor. A smell that he liked.
Everybody likes their own brand.
No, from the offering.
More tea, Vicar?
No. Knock it off, would you? Well, and it says that the Lord said in his heart, "I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done." And smite means to knock down or to destroy. And God said, "While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease." And God blessed Noah and his sons. And he said that all the birds and the animals and the fish are going to be afraid of people now, And he's given the animals to the people. And then it says, "Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things." You see, there's that word meat again. And remember, it just means food, right? So God was saying, hey, before the flood, you was all vegetarians. But now you can eat all the animals and the birds and the fish and stuff like that too. And then God talks to Noah and his kids again, and he says, "Behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and every living creature that is with you." And a covenant it just means a kind of agreement. "And neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood. Neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. This is the token of the covenant which I make for perpetual generations." And perpetual just means never ending. "I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And I will remember my covenant."
A bow in the clouds? You mean like a rainbow?
Yeah, the rainbow. It's one of my favorite parts because we can still see it with our own eyes. Every time I see a rainbow, I think of God's promise to us that he'll never wipe the whole place out with the flood again. I get to see a part of the Bible story right there in front of my own eyes.
I never heard nobody talk about that before. When you look at a rainbow, that's God reminding us of the promise to us. Ooh, that gives me the goose pimples.
Yeah, me too. I love looking at rainbows. I'll take God's promise over a pot of gold any day. Well, so Noah lived until he was 950 years old, and then he died. But then his 3 sons and their 3 wives had lots of kids, and everybody on earth came from them 6 people. And then it goes on to talk about the descendants of the 3 sons and the cities that they started and stuff like that. I like Noah a lot because I think he was a pretty good example.
A good example? For what?
Well, a good example for sticking to the truth and following God even when nobody else wants to, That even if you was the last person on earth who believes in God and the truth of God's word, you gotta stick to it.
I don't know, Murray. That sounds awfully hard to do. I don't know if I got it in me.
Well, sure it's hard, but if you believe it, that's what you gotta do. Are you starting to believe any of this stuff?
Well, yeah, some of the stuff, I think so. But some of the stuff, well, I just don't know yet.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean, but that's good. It's good that you're at least thinking about it and that you got an open mind. Because I don't think people should just believe what they're told without asking no questions and really trying to understand the stuff.
Like what you was saying before about, if there ain't no God, that means that everything just made itself out of nothing, all accidental like. Well, I've been thinking about that a lot.
Oh, I think that's real good. It took me a long time and a lot of thinking to get to the point of believing this stuff too. Hey, you know Mrs. Ipswich from upstairs?
You mean that sweet little old lady that makes that yummy soup?
Yeah, that's her. Well, she spent a whole lot of time talking with me about this stuff, and she was never pushy or nothing. She just talked with me, and, well, she answered about 1,000,000 questions I had, but then she told me to think about it and to come to my own conclusions.
Really? I didn't know that.
Sure. Yeah, she's one of the sweetest women I ever met. She talked with me for about a year, and when I was ready and I finally wanted into the whole Christianity thing, she brought me to her church and I got baptized.
Is that when they dunk you in the water?
Yeah. Yeah, when you finally decide to follow Jesus, you get baptized as a symbol of being washed clean and becoming a new person.
Where does it talk about that?
Well, that's way over in the New Testament, in the Gospels. Them are the books that tell all about Jesus.
Hey, Murray, you think you could tell me more about him sometime?
Are you kidding me? Nothing would make me happier, my friend. It would be an honor.
Okay, but I can't do it right now. I gotta go. I gotta fix a neighbor's toilet so she can go.
Yeah, I should probably go too. Florence is trying to set me up with one of her friends and she's gonna be here soon.
Then how come you're gonna leave? Ain't you gonna miss out on seeing her?
Well, that's kind of the whole point. She ain't really my type,
What do you mean?
Well, for one thing, the only thing she ever wants to do is play bingo. And then the other thing is that she's got these moles around her eyebrows, so every time I look at her, I just see Morris Code.
That's funny, Murray.
Well, you want to say goodbye to Abe with me?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, go ahead. Say goodbye, Larry.
Goodbye, Larry. Nah, I'm just fooling. Goodbye, Abe. Larry here signing off. I hope I get to meet you sometime real soon, kid.
Yeah, I hope I get to see you soon too, buddy. 'Cause as always, I miss you and I love you, pal. Bye-bye.